I feel like most people are pretty familiar with the movie Tangled. You've got Rapunzel with her long blonde hair and her frying pan, and you've got Flynn Rider, and the two of them are chasing after the lanterns. But there's an unsung hero in that movie, and it's Pascal, her little chameleon partner in crime. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the movie Tangled, but there's quite a few things in that movie that are actually very harmful for the reptile hobby and chameleons in general, so I figured it was a worthwhile video to talk about it. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, I just want to start off by saying, I know it's a movie, okay? I know it's make-believe, I know it's not true, I know it's an animated movie, and yes, there's a little creative freedom that comes with, you know, having animals in animated cartoons. However, I think there's quite a few things that were not great about the movie as far as chameleon care goes, so I think that we need to discuss that. But I will say, Tangled is one of my favorite movies, okay? It is a great movie, and any movie with a chameleon in it, I'm on board for. But I first off want to talk about how the movie with chameleons is just not accurate, okay? Let's just start off with color changing. So Pascal, throughout the movie, turns a variety of colors. He's like a little red chameleon, then an orange chameleon. At one point, he's a flower, a purple chameleon. Like, chameleons don't change colors like that, and I think that just sets unrealistic expectations and just continues to drive the myth that chameleons change colors to camouflage, when in actuality, chameleons change colors as a way to communicate due to temperature, mating behavior. I like to say more like a mood ring than to camouflage. And there's a spectrum. A chameleon can only get lighter or darker depending on how much their cells expand and contract, letting in more and less light. But a green chameleon is not just gonna randomly turn purple polka dots, and it's certainly not to camouflage. Not to mention the feet on Pascal are not anatomically correct. Chameleons actually have little webbed feet where their toes are actually webbed together. They've got 3 toes together, then 2 toes together, then their back feet's the opposite than their front feet. We don't have to get into it, but the feet are different. They're very cute, but they're not anatomically correct, and chameleons use their feet to grip onto their branches. The other thing that drives me nuts is the tail on Pascal is completely wrong, and let me demonstrate. So I was actually gifted this cute little Pascal, and you can see the little toes on there, but what I want to point out is the tail. So in the movie, Pascal's tail curls upward like this, but in actuality, a chameleon tail curls downward like this. So if a chameleon's tail actually looked like this, it would be a broken tail. I'm not sure why Disney decided to curl it upward versus downward, maybe because it looks cuter, but it's completely wrong. So now that we've gone that out of the way, how Pascal's just like not an accurate chameleon. He's green. There are green chameleons. He's probably modeled after a veiled chameleon in his little casket. That's pretty accurate for what a veiled chameleon has. But this movie also sets very unreal expectations. And by this I mean, in the movie, Pascal's her best friend. He's like hanging out on her shoulder, and they're literally going cross country, traveling through the woods and everything else. And that's not the reality of what owning a chameleon is like. Yes, in theory, your chameleon could hang out on your shoulder, but that'd be a rare occasion and not something you would do on a regular basis, and certainly would not have that relationship with your chameleon. Chameleons are more of a look-at pet that we enjoy from their enclosures, and yes, we can handle them and interact with them in small spurts of time. I'm not saying it's impossible, it's just not something that you should do all the time with your chameleon, so that's unrealistic. You also would never travel cross country for extended periods of time with a pet chameleon, and I just think it gives you zero indication on chameleon care. You can see behind me these very, very vast detailed enclosures that I have with multiple lighting, branches, plants, like these tall enclosures, misting systems, supplements, the bugs that they eat. All of this is a very intricate process in order to keep these animals alive in captivity, and that movie did zero part of showing that as part of the realities of owning a pet chameleon. So what ends up happening is we have a lot of people who are inspired by this movie, fall in love with Pascal, and I think that's wonderful, and I would love people to fall in love with chameleons, but then they go to their Petco, PetSmart, and just have completely unrealistic expectations when it comes to owning a chameleon. They name them Pascal, and they end up in my DMs with an SOS message asking for help because their chameleon's sick and is dying. So it just breaks my heart, and so I hope if this video can even just help one person realize the realities of owning a chameleon, then I think that's worth it alone. But we just have to go into chameleons with maybe being inspired by that movie. I think that's great. It sparks our interest, but then it's on us that we go independently and do our own research to learn the details that go with chameleon care and everything that's involved with owning a chameleon. And so feel free to check out my literal hundreds of videos that I have on chameleon care, including 5 reasons why a chameleon might not be a good pet for you. So I think that's worthwhile checking into and seeing if it's, gonna be a good fit. But I love that the movie Tangled has inspired a new generation of chameleon keepers. I'm so excited for people who are wanting to get a chameleon. I just think there's a lot more that goes into it. I think the movie could have done a much better job of portraying the chameleon accurately and then also giving just a little bit of realistic expectations, even if they had Pascal in an enclosure, right? And then, Rapunzel was able to take him out and hang out with him and then put him back into his enclosure. Even that alone, I think would help set a little bit more expectations when it comes to chameleon care. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful. Like I mentioned, I have hundreds of free videos. You're also welcome to book a one-on-one call with me, or you can check out my website, neptunethechameleon.com, for tons and tons of great information on chameleon care. Always, you can follow Neptune and all my chameleons on social media at Neptune the Chameleon. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! The number of chameleons that I've heard named Pascal is crazy. If it's not Pascal, it's Karma. If it's not Karma, it's, what's the other guy's name? Yoshi. There's a lot of Yoshis.